Now to officially start our meeting, if you join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Welcome to our meeting of January 29th, 2020, and I officially call this meeting to order, and we will proceed with the agenda. B, with the approval of regular session minutes of 1/27/2020. Board, I know you've had the minutes prior to the meeting, had an opportunity to review them and ask for clarifications or changes. Do I have a motion to approve the regular session minutes of 1/27/2020?
So moved.
I'll second.
Been moved and it's received a second. And then prior to moving our,
We need a roll call.
roll call, Judy, I'm sorry.
That's okay. Mr. Humphrey?
Aye.
Mrs. Corcoran?
Yes.
Mr. Painter?
Yes. Prior to going forward with our agenda, we have a presentation by the board here for a proclamation. If you'd join me to the podium. Every once in a while, we get to do something that comes up without anybody knowing about it. And this morning is one of those rare exceptions. Gary Knapp, I know you're here this morning because you wanted to speak to the Board of Clermont County Commissioners, but that's not what's going to happen at all. If you please come up here to the podium. You've seen that Undercover Boss thing?
Yes.
You've been kind of buffoon.
Oh my gosh.
And here it is. Clermont County Board of Commissioners has a proclamation today for you. Whereas Gary Knapp is a longtime Clermont County resident who has worked and served his community for many years as an attorney, a Milford City Council member, and a Milford Board of Education member. Whereas Mr. Knapp has published 8 books pertaining to the rich history of Clermont County spanning from the Civil War to Vietnam. And whereas Mr. Knapp has made his life's work to preserve and educate generations to come about the numerous historical events and historical figures from our great county. And whereas it is fitting that Clermont County bestow upon Mr. Knapp the position of honorary historians. Whereas Clermont County welcomes you in this new endeavor and appreciates your commitment of service which you have made to this community. Now therefore, we the Board of County Commissioners do hereby proclaim Gary Knapp as honorary historians of Clermont County. And it's signed by David Painter, President, Edwin H. Humphrey, Vice President, and Claire B. Corcoran, Member. Gary, on behalf of the Clermont County Board of Commissioners and behalf of 205,000 residents here in Clermont County, I'd like to bestow this proclamation on you
Thank
as
you
a
so
county
much. I
historian.
appreciate it.
And the podium is yours, sir,
Oh, now the podium is
for a
mine.
little
Okay.
acceptance.
If I may, just a moment. I'm shocked and very surprised by this and pleased. My joy has been researching and telling the story of Clermont County history for the past 25 years. And to be recognized is more than I can expect, and so I appreciate that very much.
We appreciate you and everything that you've done.
And now I get to do some more talking.
Yeah.
Well,
And, the mic is there, so if you'll stand at the podium.
You have about 5 minutes.
Can I ask if it'd be a Bill Knapp 5 minutes? Everybody knows what that means.
Yeah. It's 4.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, thank you again. I appreciate it. And I do have the opportunity to speak about Clermont County history. I'd love to share it whenever I have the opportunity to do so. It's a very rich history, and there's a lot to still be told, and I hope to have a few more years of working at that. And this is my latest book about Clermont County history. It's called Over There. It's about World War I and the contributions that this county, both at in Europe and at home, made towards our contribution to our war effort. And there's a lot of stories that are contained within this book, and with just a short period of time to talk about it, the United States' involvement in the World War I lasted just 6 months. The war had been raging 32 months in Europe before we got involved, And during that 6-month period, just 200 days, we suffered over 53,000 killed in action, 204,000 wounded, and about 67,000 had died of disease. And during this period of time, it was an amazing situation. We talk about the coronavirus today. It's nothing like the epidemic in 1918 when it's estimated as many as 100 million people died worldwide of that particular contagion. In the United States, there was 475,000, and 1 week in Ohio, over 1,500 people died of that disease. So that also lays into the human context of what we went in here. As far as Clermont County is concerned, I don't know how many people were involved in it as far as in the war, because the records aren't very good, but I know that at least 1,500. Our population at the time was 34,000, which is about the same as it was during the Civil War period. So 1,500 contribution was pretty significant for the size of the community of the day. One of the aspects of this war that I did not know much about at all was the fact that so many of our people, particularly Clermont Countyans as well as U.S. citizens, fought for the Allies before we got involved. They were either working with in the British Army, the French, or particularly the Canadians. Tens of thousands of Americans fought with the Canadian Army. There were so many that they called what was called the American Legion of the Canadian Expeditionary Force. And I'm happy to find that there were 3 from Clermont, 2 from Goshen. One was Del Hardy, who I have a pretty good story of him in this book, and 2 others from Goshen. Dr. Clyde Terwilliger from Milford was in the British Army and was serving in the trenches. And Alice Stewart, also a Milford High School graduate, was a surgical nurse in a small hospital near Verdun, and she was awarded the Croix de Guerre, which is one of the most prestigious awards from the French Army. There are several stories in here about other people that served during the time when we were in the war. Those individuals who had fought before we were involved lost their citizenship because they swore an allegiance to a foreign country. And by an act of Congress, they reestablished the process by which these men and women can reestablish their American citizenship. Just 3 people that I'd talk about just quickly. There were 3 African Americans from Milford who all were in the same, 3 brothers who were all in the same unit. They were in a segregated unit, the 92nd Infantry Division, and it wasn't until the Korean War really that the Army was desegregated. And several others that I would hope that you might take a chance to read. The core of this book is about some of the letters that I found, over 30 letters that were published in the newspapers. And one letter, I'll read just a very brief snippet because it tells some very significant events of this one man. One sees some awful things here with the dead and dying and all that goes to make up a battle. One of the most pitiful sights I ever saw was a boy, a mere child in the field. I saw that he had something clutched to the breast. I looked to see what it was, and it was a Bible clutched to his breast, and on it was written, quote, "My son, always keep this book in your left pocket near your heart. Your loving mother." The poor child was torn all to pieces by shrapnel. And that was one of the more poignant episodes that they were seeing, and you could imagine that multiplied by many times for all these men had served. And one last thought, the topic of the book, or the title of the book, Over There, is based on the song that was the iconic song of the war by George M. Cohan. It took him just 2 hours to write the song in both the lyrics and the melody, and he contributed all the proceeds, which were many, to the American Red Cross for Soldiers Relief. So again, it's another episode of Clermont County history that we can all be very proud of. And again, I thank you very much for giving me some time and the recognition.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
And would you honor us with a picture out front here?
Certainly.
Three, two, one, and one more. 3, 2, 1.
And Bill, would you come up?
Walker or your son?
I didn't get that one.
Probably should use your.
There you go.
We'll go in 3, 2, 1. And one more. 3, 2, 1. Stand by.
That's great.
5 seconds. You want to turn back around here again? 5 seconds. Hear ye, hear ye, hear ye. Clermont County, the best cotton picking, what are we? County in the state of Ohio. We all know it, and let's brag about it. Hear ye, hear ye, hear ye. So declared and approved by all of the county commissioners. Sorry, Gary, I did want to steal the show from you.
Let's go back to our meeting.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Gary, thanks so much for being here this morning.
Thank you.
You bet. We will continue with C, a presentation. Carolyn Evans, and Executive Director of Clermont County Animal Care and Humane Society, annual report for calendar year 2019. Karen?
We thought someone stepping in. It was going to be our board president, Julie, and she can't make it today. So our life-saving director is going to
All right.
issue for us.
Okay.
All right, thank you for having us. We appreciate the time to be able to share sort of what we're doing over at the animal shelter and all the exciting things that are happening. And we're very proud of what we're doing, and we hope that everyone in Clermont County is as well. So this is really a 2019 review of the Clermont County Animal Services. And Debbie showed me how to use this.
I think it runs on that laptop over there.
Okay, I got it now. I just had to
Okay.
get it going there. Yeah. All right. So we took over the county shelter in 2018 with the contract from the county, and we went into that into 2018 with a single goal of making sure that Clermont County would be a no-kill community, not just an animal shelter that serves animals, but also a shelter that serves the people that are attached to each of the animals as well. So we've been running the shelter. We've been in charge of dog warden services, and again, our goal is to transform the county into a no-kill community. We're committed to data-driven best practices. We are very committed as well to our constant self-improvement and delivering the best service we possibly can. Sorry, whoops. So right now we have, again, we took over we started operating 2 years ago from a dead stop. So we jumped in and we're just hit the ground running right away. And again, we've been at that no-kill level since day one. Our results have been impressive, but they haven't been easy. I don't think any of us quite understood what it would take to really transform a community and transform the animal shelter in the way that we have. And so we've been in startup mode really for the last 2 years. That's been something I think anyone who's ever kind of gotten into a new business can understand, that the beginning is tough. You've got to get the right people in. You've got to get your policies in place. You've got to do a lot of those startup activities, and we are now feeling like we're starting to catch some momentum after a little bit of the first 2 years. So we're really excited for year 3. We've finally been able to build out our staffing model to serve our community. We've got staff of over 20 people, including management, that are needed to run operations, not only to cover just our requirements through the ORC, but also to cover expanded services that Clermont County residents have come to expect. Right now, we're really excited. We have the right people in place, and our people are mission-driven. They're well-connected. they're experienced, and they're professional. These are all really important things to get that county shelter to a place that is beyond just the basics. We've also built strong foundations with our partners in the field. We have a lot of, I'll go through some examples later, but we've got a lot of partners throughout, not just Clermont County, but throughout the Cincinnati area, throughout Ohio, and frankly beyond, nationally, that we rely on to help us, and we step in and help them when we can. It's really, for those of you that don't know a lot about animal sheltering, it's really becoming a national community, which is really exciting because we can make obviously a bigger impact when we're all together working toward the same goals. Community engagement and support has been growing, and it's strong. We really feel that we've got the community behind us and our mission and our goals. So our accomplishments in 2019, we pulled some stats for you, and really they are comparing our first 2 years, so that'd be 2018 and 2019, comparing them to the prior 2 years of 2016 and 2017 when we weren't at the shelter. So we've got a 96% life-saving rate, which is pretty incredible. Not a lot of shelters around the country are at that level, but we've through high-level staffing and through programming, we've been able to get there. Dog euthanasias the last 2 years are down 52% from the previous 2 years. Our intake has increased 41%. So we've actually been able to bring more animals in, as well as limit the euthanasias that we're doing. And frankly, we really are euthanizing at a very, very low level, and only when completely necessary for either public safety or for medical reasons. Our dog adoptions have gone up 67%. That really attributes to our programming and our trust and relationships with the community. We've got a lot of people coming into Clermont Animal Care and choosing us to come find their next pet. Return to owners are up 36%. That's really, personally, something that's really, really important to us. We don't want anybody's pets. We want them to stay in their homes. We want them, if they get lost, we want them to find their way home. We've also assisted 1,500 cats in the last 2 years. This is not part of our county contract. It's something the Humane Society chooses to do, and we do it with our own funding, with our own donors. But cats matter to people in Clermont County, and we're here to help them as best we can when needed. Our expanded services include assistance with spay and neuter. That's a huge piece for any animal shelter and any no-kill community. We also have been providing medical and short-term housing assistance as well, and additionally food and supplies if needed. Again, we really want to be considered a community resource, and we're here to help the people who own the pets. We've been enacting several enrichment programs, and I think this is really something that's been exciting in 2019 that has really taken off in our shelter. Especially with our commitment to being a no-kill shelter, the length of stay for the animals can be at a longer. They could be there a while if they're not getting adopted. And as you can imagine, sitting in a kennel could probably get pretty boring if you're not being enriched, if you're not having human contact, if you're not being able to do some fun things. So we have a team that is volunteers and some staff that are committed to making sure every animal in our care is receiving enrichment at the highest level. Every single day, every single animal is our goal to make sure they are mentally and physically doing well while they're in our care. And I'll talk a little bit in a second about some of the programs that we've been selected to participate in. We also have relationships and credibility to draw in additional funding to provide services to Clermont County residents. We realize that the county has brought us on to do perform certain tasks by Ohio law, and we have made the commitment as Humane Society to really expand beyond those and provide what Clermont County residents want and expect. We've brought in nearly $150,000 in the last 2 years to support programs that could not be offered if the county was funding the shelter alone. So we really bring in a lot of our own money to help expand our services. We are recognized leaders in our field. I mentioned a second ago about all the enrichment that we've been doing and all the above and beyond activities that we provide for the animals of Clermont County that find their way to our shelter. These are all programs that we've been selected to. These are all but one. You see the University of Cincinnati there is obviously local. All the others are national programs that very few shelters get to participate in, and we have been very fortunate to have been selected. I'll say that a lot of these programs are really looking for shelters that they believe their investment is worth putting in. So we've had to really show our statistics, show what we're doing in order to even be considered for these programs. So we're maximizing these opportunities and to try to grow programming to provide best practice and innovative solutions to all areas of our operation. It's a really competitive field when you apply for any of these programs, and again, we've been very fortunate to be selected. Dogs Playing for Life is the picture there of the dogs rolling around. This is a huge national program that encourages and teaches us how to run playgroups in our shelter. So instead of dogs just getting simply on walks, we actually get them out into the yard where they can run and they can play and they can be with their common species and be able to really exhibit canine behaviors. And that's been proven to be really beneficial to them during their time at the shelter. So that's a really fun program. When we're running those, you're welcome to come watch and come see the program, see the Dogs Playing for Life playgroups. They're fun to watch. The dogs are having a blast. So it's pretty cool, not only for the dogs, but our volunteers and our staff. It's something they really get behind. We're selected for Rescue Rebuild, which is the bottom left picture down there, and they're a shelter renovation project. So they actually come in with a grant, and they'll help us renovate our existing building to outfit it to be more progressive and more current. And so we've been selected. We've not done anything with this grant yet, but we were selected as somebody. If we chose to, they would put some money into the shelter, into the county shelter, to help us build it up and just sort of renovate and spruce it up a little bit. Jackson Galaxy Cat Positive. You can see the high five there from that cat. Some of you may know Jackson Galaxy from Animal Planet. He's got a TV show where he goes in and trains cats. And we were just recently selected for this program. And it's a shelter enrichment program for cats cats sometimes get forgotten in shelters, and that's certainly not the case in Clermont County. We want to make sure that we're providing for them as well. And they, in this Cat Positive program, they teach our staff and our volunteers how to do kind of fun and cool tricks using a clicker. One cool thing, they're kind of what they're known for is the cat high five. And what that does, hopefully, is makes them a little bit more adoptable, kind of brings a smile to people's faces, and we can find homes for those cats pretty quickly and relieve any boredom that they have at the shelter as well. Heartspeak is a photography project that really, I'm sure some of you have seen pictures of dogs and cats and animals online. They can be kind of dreary, it can be kind of dark behind the cage, and Heartspeak is a national group that selected Clermont Animal Care as an organization to come out and train our staff and let us know how we can provide better pictures just to make the animals more adoptable. How do you find ways to really bring their personality out and make it better marketing tools and things like that to be able to hopefully get them into homes as quickly as possible. Maddie's Fun Apprenticeships are another program that we've been involved in. About a dozen of our staff have attended 15 different sponsored classes. This has been no cost to us. Maddie's Fund has selected our staff to attend these programs, and we take full advantage whenever they come calling. We are very excited to be able to have the opportunity, again, on their dime, to go down and teach us how to run the best practice life-saving services for the animals in our community. The classes include dog care, cat care, medical care, animal control. We had some people go down and learn about fostering and how to run a foster program. So it's pretty cool. There's a lot of fun things happening in animal welfare around the country. And then finally, the more local one, the University of Cincinnati Project Impact we were recently selected as one of a few, I don't know exactly how many, but one of a few nonprofits to benefit from the Project Impact class. And what that is, it's a group of marketing students. And as a nonprofit, we said, hey, we could use some help with marketing. And the topic we chose was dog tag sales. So what I actually went there last week to UC, spoke in front of the students, and explained our dog tag sale program and how important it is to Clermont County. And we're going to let them have at it and see what they can come up with, some cool ideas for marketing, and some see what they can, figure out ways for us to really generate some more revenue from those dog tag sales. So it's great for the UC students and hopefully really great for us as well. So our animal control has been a program that we've been really proud of this year. I think most recently and probably most famously, we've had a recent situation with a large-scale hoarding situation that's made a little bit of news around the city and around the region, and we were able to respond pretty quickly. We've been able to, within a situation, without getting into too many details, a situation that started off as pretty routine for us. We come across hoarding cases pretty regularly. Quickly became a lot more than we were expecting. And within a matter of a few hours, we originally thought we were going to be taking probably about 8 animals. It turned into almost 60 within a couple hours. And we quickly were able to respond, gather resources, and this is really goes back to our relationships with partners around the city and around the region that we've developed. If people trust us, they know if we're asking for help, they know we need it, and they're willing to come and help us out. So we had, I believe it was 13 different rescue groups step up in a matter of a couple days to assist us with the absorbing 60 animals from a situation that they desperately needed to get out of. Our Facebook network was pretty powerful as well. We had a lot of donations. I know our videos were watched 10,000 times. I mean, we really were able to gather a lot of I think good publicity for Clermont County, and really showcase what we're doing and the great things that we're doing with everyone's help. This was a community effort. There is absolutely no way Clermont Animal Care Humane Society could have done it alone. We really relied on our partners. And it's this type of leadership and professionalism that we really strive to project, and that we know will continue to help us build even more relationships in the future. Dog tag sales, it's that time of year. So that's definitely, it's been on our mind and something that we've been promoting the last few months. Revenues from dog tag sales are primarily what drives our ability to provide basic services for animals and the people of Clermont County. So this is really important. The benefits of licensing your dog is that it's the law, so it keeps your dog legal. It's going to help you find your dog find his way back home again. If a dog comes into us with that tag, we can quickly figure out who the owner is and get that dog back home, alleviating any time at the shelter, we hope. It also extends the stray hold period. So by Ohio law, stray hold for dogs is 3 days or 72 hours. If a dog comes in wearing a current 2020 Clermont County dog license, they are extended from a 3-day hold to a 10-day hold. So this gives owners a lot more time to come in and find their pets, which is really important. I know if anyone in here who's a pet owner, I know you want as much time as possible to get in there and get your pet from the shelter. And right now we're actually running a promotion where if you buy a dog tag by the end of the tag season, you can purchase a microchip for just $10. And for those of you who don't know what a microchip is, it's like a little grain of rice size computer chip that gets implanted right between the shoulder blades of the animal. And we have microchip scanners at the shelter. If the pet comes in, we look for a tag. If they don't have a tag, we look for that microchip and we scan and see if there's a microchip in the animal. If there is, we can then get it into the computer and contact the owner as well. So we're trying pretty hard to make sure that we can get as many animals back home as possible. So we are requesting the Board of County Commissioners to consider amnesty for the month of February. We want our community to be in compliance, and we also want to help the animals of our community. Only about 25% of people comply with the dog tag law, and again, this is what really funds our county services. So we're counting a really easy way for our community to help us out and make sure that our shelter is performing at the highest level is to just simply buy that dog tag every year. Tags are on sale at the shelter, also at the auditor's office. We've got them on sale at all the Park National Banks in Clermont County. And we've been doing pop-up events at places like Jungle Gyms and Walmart. That's always weather permitting. And we've also got several other designated distributors that you can find on the auditor's website. So we make it, they're all over the place. You just got to go find it and get that tag purchased as soon as possible. So we feel right now that we are really starting to hit our stride as a shelter. Again, our results the last 2 years have been like nothing the county has ever seen before, but we still know that we can keep improving and we can do better, and that's always our goal every single day. We've been recognized this in 2019 recently in 2 different areas. We're nominated, or sorry, not nominated. We were voted number 3, a top 10 shelter in the country by American Pets Alive. For those of you that don't know that group, it's a national organization that visits hundreds of shelters every year, and they consult on best practices. At the end of 2019, they named Clermont County, the Clermont County Shelter, Clermont Animal Care Humane Society, number 3 in the country as the best shelters that they saw in 2019. So that's something we're really, really proud of. We also were, our executive director, Carolyn Evans, was selected as one of 3 people from the country, one of 3 animal welfare professionals in the country to attend the Best Friends Animal Society executive leadership class. Animal sheltering has traditionally, across the country, not been very professional. It's not really an area that gets a lot of respect. It's been a field that just is kind of not thought of to be a really important field. And we're national groups and Clermont Animal Care, we're really trying to change that. This is important work, and again, it's not just the animals, it's the people that come with them. This is really a public service, and Best Friends decided that we need more leaders. We need more people who can really lead the no-kill movement in the country. And again, Carolyn was selected to attend this class. She just graduated. I was selected for the second class, so I'll be starting to attend that as well. And again, these are at no charge to the county or no charge to our Humane Society. We've been able to be sponsored to attend these events or to attend this class and really bring our knowledge back to Clermont County and implement it here. So we're very proud of these accomplishments and all the hard work our volunteers and staff have done to help us reach these goals and these accomplishments. So finally, we want to look at the future of Clermont County Animal Services. We are continuing to be committed to life-saving animal services every single day. That is our goal with everything we do and every decision we make. In order to do that, we've really got to strengthen relationships, and we need support for the vision. This can't be a Clermont Animal Care thing. It's got to be a community thing. We need everybody behind us, and we're going to do everything we can to make sure people understand what our goals are, what our mission is, and give them the opportunity to join this movement with us. We are also going to be introducing more formal programs for cat care. We're doing some things right now, but we also need we want to try to ramp up our cat program this year, especially when it comes to community cats. We've got a huge list of people contacting us asking for help with cats. And so this is an area just, in responding to what our community needs, we're up for the task. We want to do as much as we can to provide that. And really everything we do is with the mission of building community support and trust. whether it's when somebody walks into the shelter and they just need some help, whether it's somebody our animal control officers run into out in the field. We're here to support first. We want to try to see what we can do to help our community and help our neighbors. And we must work together in collaboration with the Board of County Commissioners to develop a strategic vision for the animals and people of Clermont County. We're excited to work with you again in 2019 to really, understand your vision and see how we align and really continue the services that Clermont Animal Care Humane Society has been able to bring to the county. And we thank you for all of your support and your time today. So that's all I've got. Thank you. I appreciate everybody listening.
Thanks so much for coming.
Yeah, thank you. No
And
problem.
just to touch on one question
Sure.
while you're here, I know that you guys are requesting us for amnesty for the month of February.
Yes.
Any plans? Do you have some promotional plans or anything for that month?
Yeah, we do. We actually have already done a survey with our volunteers to see who is available to go out and do some of those pop-up events. And we've gotten a really good response back. So we've got pretty much every weekend covered with at least 2 volunteers at different places all around the county. So that's one area. And then again, just continuing to plug it at the shelter and use social media, get it out there, and just have that just a little extra time for people to come in and get those tags purchased, because we know how important it is.
One of the other things, if they haven't contacted you so far, yesterday, Bank of America opened up in the Eastgate area,
Perfect.
right down on the same road that White Castle and the restaurant.
Seen it. Yeah,
road
I didn't
there
realize
is.
it hadn't opened.
And one of the things that they want to partner with is
Perfect.
your facility. So
Great. We will
they
look into
mentioned
that.
that in there. Robin was there, so I just wanted to mention that and
Thank
make sure
you.
you follow up.
Yep, we'll look into that for sure. Anyone who wants to sell tags for us, we'll accept it. So,
Thanks for being here today.
sure. Thank you.
Thank you.
Board, any comments or questions? Okay. D, public participation. We've reached that point of the meeting where I'm requesting anybody who's here today from the public that would like to participate in this meeting or speak, please do so by raising your hand. Is there anyone here from the public that would like to participate? Seeing none, I'll close public participation and we'll move to E, consent agenda. Consent agenda has been prepared for you, board. I know you've had it in advance, had the opportunity to review it, ask questions or clarifications. Are there any items that need to be removed from the consent agenda for further discussion or?
None.
Then I would ask for a motion to approve the consent agenda as submitted.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Then moved and received a second. Roll call, Judy.
Corcoran.
Yes.
Humphrey.
Aye.
Painter.
Yes. F, non-consent agenda. Non-consent agenda starts on page 2. Starts with item number 3, recommendation, the Board of Commissioners adopt a resolution number 018-20, resolving to approve payment and vendors to the total amount of $1,489,807.43, as set forth in the BCC approval invoice report for checks dated January 29, 2020. BCC directed prepaid invoice report and the procurement card transaction report as presented by the county auditor on 1/27/2020, and further authorizing county auditor to issue warrants for the same pursuant to section 319.16 of the Ohio Revised Code. Do I have a motion to pay the bills?
So moved.
I'll second.
Been moved and received a second. Any further conversation or discussion? Roll call, Judy.
Mr. Humphrey.
Aye.
Mrs. Corcoran.
Yes.
Mr. Painter.
Yes. Item number 4. Morning, Lyle.
Lyle Bloom, Director with the Clermont County Water Resources Department. And item number 4 is a recommendation to adopt resolution number 019-20, resolving to determine to proceed with the construction, operation, and maintenance of the sewer petition project known as the Branch Hill Guinea Road Sewer Petition Project located in Miami Township, and designated as project number 6402-60173, and in conformance with the detailed plans, specifications, estimates of cost and financing, and tentative assessment rule, as herein ratified and confirmed, all of which shall be paid from special assessment of benefited properties as identified in Exhibit B, with a portion of the project costs paid by the County Wastewater System Capital Improvement Fund pursuant to full compliance with Chapter 6117 of the Ohio Revised Code. So this project involves installation of about 339 feet of 8-inch sanitary sewer to benefit 4 properties along Branch Hill Guinea Road near the entrance to Miami Trails Drive. We had a public hearing for this on December 11th, 2019. We didn't have anyone in attendance at that public hearing to speak in support or opposition. And in the 5 days following, we didn't get anything in writing in support or opposition. However, we did have phone contact. The 2 property owners called in to express their support for the project. So we have 2 verbal in support and no one in opposition at this time.
Board, you've heard the reading of item number 4 and the clarifications that Lyle has made. Do I have a motion for approval?
I'll make the motion.
Second.
It's been moved and received a second. Any further clarifications or discussion? Roll call, Judy.
Mrs. Corcoran.
Yes.
Mr. Humphrey.
Aye.
Mr. Painter.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thanks, Lyle. Item number 5. Morning, John Cascaden.
John Cascaden, Director of Department of Public Safety Services. I have item number 5 today on my recommendation with the concurrence of Thomas J. Igle, County Administrator, to execute the collective bargaining agreement by and between the Clermont County, Ohio, and the Fraternal Order of the Police, Ohio Labor Council, representing the bargaining unit employees of the Clermont County Department of Public Safety Services for the period of January 1, 2020 through December 31st, 2022, pursuant to the terms and conditions specified therein, and to authorize the Clermont County Department of Public Safety Services to process personnel actions for bargaining unit employees of the Clermont County Department of Public Safety Services in concert with to adjust their pay rates in compliance with Article 22 entitled Wages, Schedules of Rates relative thereto, and said adjustments to their rates of pay to be effective on January 1, 2020.
Board, you've heard the reading of item number 5. Do I have a motion for approval?
So moved.
Second.
Been moved and received a second. Any further conversation or discussion? Roll call, Judy.
Mr. Humphrey.
Aye.
Mrs. Corcoran. Yes. Mr. Painter.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Item number 6.
The Clermont County Coroner's Office wants to do the memorandum of understanding with the Hamilton County Coroner's Office for the professional services. This is between the Clermont County Coroner's Office and the Hamilton County Coroner's Office for the forensic pathology examinations, forensic toxicology, and the evaluation is required for determination of the cause of death. This will be from January 1st of 2020 to 2020. And these will take care of the autopsies, which is $1,500 each. Exam and toxicology is $600 each. And the storage fees are $45 for the first day and $25 every day after that. And we've been doing that for quite a few years now.
Okay.
So
Effective the period 1/1/20
Yes.
through 12/31/2020.
yeah. And then we'll be doing another one for next year before January, because they'll be going into their new facility.
Okay.
So we'll be doing it every year.
Board, you've heard the reading of item number 6 and the explanation for entering into a memorandum of understanding with Hamilton County between Clermont County Coroner and Hamilton County. Do I have a motion for approval?
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Been moved, received a second. Any further conversation or discussion? Roll call, Judy.
Mrs. Corcoran.
Yes.
Mr. Humphrey.
Aye.
Mr. Painter.
Yes. Item number 7. Morning, Mr. Raymond.
My name is Ernie Ramus. I'm the Chief of the Civil Division of the Clermont County Prosecutor's Office. This is the recommendation of D. Vincent Ferris, Prosecuting Attorney, with the concurrence of Thomas J. Igle, County Administrator, to execute the contract for legal services by and between Prosecuting Attorney of Clermont County, Ohio, and the Board of Park Commissioners, Clermont County, Ohio, 2228 US 50 Batavia, Ohio, for the provision of legal services to the Clermont County Park District as outlined therein at the rate of $75 per hour, effective January 1, 2020 through December 31, 2020, pursuant to Section 309.09D of the Ohio Revised Code and in compliance with the terms and conditions as outlined therein.
Board, you've heard the reading of item number 7. Do I have a motion for approval?
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and received a second. Any conversation or discussion? Roll call, Judy.
Mr. Humphrey.
Aye.
Mrs. Corcoran.
Yes.
Mr. Painter.
Yes. Item number 8.
This is the recommendation of Thomas J. Agel, County Administrator, to authorize David L. Painter, President of the Board of County Commissioners, to execute joint applications with the prosecuting attorney to the Clermont County Court of Common Pleas for employment of legal counsel with the following law firms as special counsel to represent the Board of County Commissioners in its official capacity, and to advise it on legal matters as outlined therein pursuant to and in compliance with Section 305.14 of the Ohio Revised Code, with compensation therefore not to exceed the amounts as outlined below for the calendar year 2020. The law firm of Frost Brown Todd LLC attorneys as legal counsel for matters relative to environmental matters as the Board of County Commissioners may from time to time designate, total amount not to exceed $30,000. The law firm of Locke Lord LLP for the preparation of all documentation in support of the underwriting of bonds and financial obligations of Clermont County, Ohio, and an amount not to exceed $40,000. And the law firm of Kegler Brown Hill and Ritter Company LPA, legal counsel for matters relative to the closure of the coal ash storage units used at the Duke Energy's retired Beckjord Power Station, hourly rate of $200 to $485 per hour based upon the level of legal services provided.
Board, you've heard the reading of item number 8. Do I have a motion for approval?
I'll make the motion.
Second.
Been moved and it's received a second. Any further conversation or discussion? Could we just have some clarification, Tom, on these three issues? I think we do this every year. Is that correct?
Yes, Frost Brown Todd is generally for Seacoast matters. And then Locke Lord is our bond counsel. And Kegler Brown is for the Duke Energy. And so we, I know there's an ongoing issue with Seacoast right now. That was, I believe, filed in 18, but there's been no activity in 19. But we were anticipating that there will be in 20.
Okay.
And then there's some bond issuances for the Water Resources Department. Lyle, I don't know if you have any comments regarding what you anticipate for 2020.
We have 3, possibly 4 projects that will be having bonds issued for. They were assessment projects.
Mm-hmm. And the bond, in the meaning of the bonds that you would be actually issuing or considering for issuance? For the project bond?
Yeah, they're the fund of the project.
Yep, got it.
The assessments can be levied once the bonds are issued.
Anything else, Board? Nope. Roll call, Judy.
Mrs. Corcoran.
Yes.
Mr. Humphrey.
Aye.
Mr. Painter.
Yes. Thanks, Mr. Ramos.
Thank you.
Tom, that concludes the agenda as presented. Do we have any add-ons?
We have 2 add-ons, but I'm asking for the board to consider them separately.
Okay.
So the first add-on is an extension and amendment of the health services agreement with Southern Health Partners for inmate health services.
Okay.
Ask the board to consider that as an add-on.
Why don't we do all the add-ons at once to consider them, and then we'll handle them individually.
Just wanted to make sure that the second add-on is something that the board wanted to consider separately, as it was a request by the animal shelter today.
Okay.
What I would do is, we'll just do it this way. There are 2 add-ons. One is for the extension and amendment of the health services agreement for the Clermont County Sheriff's between Southern Health Partners for the provision of inmate health services at the Clermont County Jail. The other one is for consideration of extending the filing application for canine registration and payment of registration fees without a penalty from January 31st to March 1st. These are the 2 add-ons. Do I have a motion to amend the agenda and add these 2 add-ons?
So moved.
I'll second.
It's Been moved and received a second. Roll call, Judy.
Mr. Humphrey.
Aye.
Mrs. Corcoran.
Yes.
Mr. Painter.
Yes, so we'll take them one at a time, Tom. We'll take the Clermont County Sheriff's Extension and Amendment of Health Services Agreement first.
This is the extension and amendment of healthcare services on the recommendation of R. Stephen Leahy, County Sheriff, with the concurrence of Thomas J. Igo, County Administrator, to execute the extension and amendment of health services agreement with Southern Health Partners, 2030 Hamilton Place Boulevard, Suite 140, Chattanooga, Tennessee, previously ratified by the Board of County Commissioners on 7/26/05, and then subsequently extended on 11/8/06, 1/14/09, 1/31/11, 1/16/13, 1/28/15, 2/1/17, and 1/30/19 for the provision of inmate health services at the Clermont County Jail, to be effective February 1st, 2020 through April 1st, 2020, or upon execution of a new agreement for health services executed by the parties to the agreement, whichever occurs first, with all other terms and conditions of the original agreement and amendments thereto to remain in full force and effect, and also contingent upon receipt of a revised certificate of liability insurance and release of the purchase order required therein, concert with requisition number 803-00, dated 1/2/2020, relative thereto.
Board, you've heard the reading of the first add-on for the recommendation for an extension and amendment of the Health Services Agreement. Do I have a motion for approval?
I'll make the motion.
Second.
It's been moved and received a second. Any further conversation or discussion? Tom, I understand that this is being extended just for a period of time to continue with the procurement process. Is that correct?
Negotiations of the contract.
Yes.
Okay. Anything else, Board? Judy, roll call.
Mrs. Corcoran.
Yes.
Mr. Humphrey.
Aye.
Mr. Painter.
Yes. Thank you. Then the next one we have is for the Board of County Commissioners to consider a resolution to extend the period for filing applications for canine registrations and payment of registration fees without penalty. A recommendation of Thomas Eigel, Administrator, resolving to extend the period for filing an application for canine registration and payment of registration fee without penalty from January 31st to March 1st, 2020 in Clermont County for calendar year 2020 to allow for and encourage the highest compliance with canine registration, and further to direct the clerk of the board to serve a certified copy of that said resolution to the Clermont County Auditor, notifying the auditor of that said extension, and requesting that all satellite offices that have been authorized to collect registration fees be notified by the auditor of that extended date for filing of an application and payment of registration fees pursuant to Section 955.01A1 and B of the Ohio Revised Code. Do I have a motion?
What resolution is this?
It'll be 2020.
2020.
Yeah, the resolution is 019-20.
I'm sorry?
019.
019-20, is that correct, Judy?
I don't think so,
Why?
because that's the one that was assigned to the Branch Hill project.
Okay.
So,
So what number, Judy?
It's 020-20,
20-20. Got it.
2020.
all right. Thank you.
So I would recommendation of Thomas J. Eigel to adopt resolution number 020-20, resolving to extend.
So moved.
I'll second.
It's been moved and it's received a second. Any further conversation or discussion? Tom, any thoughts on that, or?
Yeah, just for the board's information, in 2017, which was a year we did not extend, we had 182 registrations in February. In 2018, we did extend the deadline, and we had 2,831 registrations, and we collected $45,296. In February of 19, with no extension, we collected 863 registrations. So obviously, the extension works. I can't tell you to what extent, because some of the people that would otherwise have gotten their license may have just waited because of the extension, but it looks like it does have an impact.
So put those numbers out again. What was the first number?
182 registrations, $2,912 collected, and that was in 2017.
Okay.
When we extended it in 18, in February, we had 2,831 registrations, and we collected $45,296.
Okay.
And then in 19, we did not extend, and we had 863 registrations, and we collected $16,048.
Okay.
So the more money we get in our dog and kennel fund, the less we rely on the general fund.
Okay. Anything further, board? Roll call, Judy.
Mr. Humphrey?
Aye.
Corcoran?
Yes.
Mr. Painter?
Yes. Any further additions, Tom?
No, sir.
What is our timeline here this morning? What's our,
Recommend the board recess until 1:00 p.m. this afternoon.
so don't go into executive session? Is that the,
Well, do we have some items that we can cover in executive session?
We could.
That we could get those done now rather than wait, I think.
We could. But it's under the same provision, so it's up to the board. We can handle those at the end of the other items we have to cover.
but the items we're going to cover are going to be for that executive session also, right?
Yes.
All of them are under G1?
They're all under G1, and they're all under employment and compensation, yes.
So we could go into executive session under there, cover a couple items, come back out, recess, and then go back into executive
Board
session.
would choose to
so
do that,
it-
yes, we could do that.
And then we would have a second executive session
That'd
sometime
make us
during
more
the day?
efficient, I think.
That's fine.
We could do that.
Then H, executive session. I'm requesting an executive session pursuant to section 121.22 G1, the Ohio Revised Code, to consider the employment or compensation of one or more public employees. Do I have a motion to enter into executive session?
I'll make that motion.
Second?
It's been moved and received a second. Roll call, Judy.
Mrs. Corcoran?
Yes.
Mr. Humphrey?
Aye.
Mr. Painter?
Yes, we will proceed into executive session and we will return and conduct further business. Thank you. We are back from executive session. No decisions were made. Board, I understand that we have a need to recess this meeting until,
We have two items.
we do have two items. That's right. I'm sorry. So additional add-ons, Tom?
Yeah, we have some personnel actions in the Community and Economic Development Department for the board to consider adding on to the agenda.
Is that it?
Yes.
More? Okay.
We can take them as, if you want to consider them individually, or we can take them as a department.
I want to do the add-ons all at once and then handle them by department.
So just go over each one of the add-ons. real quick.
Okay. Stephen Rivera, Building Inspector 2. This is a salary decrease and temporary supplemental pay effective 2/3 of 2020. Stephen Scott, Plans Examiner, salary decrease and temporary supplemental pay effective 2/3 of 2020. Stephen Scott, County Building Inspector, Unclassified Promotion, effective 2/3 of 2020. And Allison Marcia, Assistant Director, Termination Resignation, effective 2/7/2020.
Board, you've heard the outline of the four additional add-ons that we have. Do I have a motion to amend the agenda and to add them on?
So moved.
I'll second. Can we add, may I ask though, can we add them all into one?
We can do the add-ons as one, and then
Okay.
we'll handle them individually.
Yep.
Okay. Then I'll second.
It's been moved and received a second. Go ahead, Judy.
So you have four add-ons that
Yes.
you want to consider as additional add-ons, and we're taking the motion to consider those four add-ons.
We're amending the agenda and
Right.
adding those four add-ons.
Okay.
Yes.
Mr. Humphrey?
Aye.
Mrs. Corcoran?
Yes.
Mr. Painter?
Yes. Those four have been added to the agenda. Tom, if you want to start with the first one, we'll take them individually.
Okay. Stephen Rivera, Building Inspector 2, salary decrease and temporary supplemental pay effective 2/3 of 2020.
I'll make that motion.
Second?
It's been moved and received a second. Any further conversation or discussion? Roll call, Judy.
Corcoran?
Yes.
Mr. Humphrey?
Aye.
Mr. Painter?
Yes.
Stephen Scott, Plans Examiner, salary decrease and temporary supplemental pay effective 2/3 of 2020.
Do I have a motion for consideration?
So moved.
I'll second.
It's been moved and received a second. Roll call, Judy.
Mr. Humphrey?
Aye.
Mrs. Corcoran?
Yes.
Mr. Painter?
Yes.
Stephen Scott, County Building Inspector, Unclassified Promotion, effective 2/3 of 2020.
Board, do I have a motion for approval?
I'll make the motion.
Second.
Been moved and received a second. Any conversation? Roll call, Judy.
Corcoran.
Yes.
Mr. Humphrey.
Aye.
Mr. Painter.
Yes.
And Allison Marcia, Assistant Director, termination resignation, effective 2/7/2020.
Do I have a motion for approval?
So moved.
I'll second.
Been moved and received a second. Any further conversation or discussion? That is Allison in our Economic Development Department.
Yes.
Right.
She will be greatly missed, no doubt about that. You bet. Anything further, board? Roll call, Judy.
Mr. Humphrey.
Aye.
Mrs. Corcoran.
Yes.
Mr. Painter.
Yes. Tom, any additional
Yes, sir.
items on the agenda? All right, then I understand we have a need to recess this meeting until 12:50 this afternoon. I'd ask for a motion to go into recess until 12:50 this afternoon.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
It's been moved and received a second. Roll call, Judy.
Mrs. Corcoran.
Yes.
Mr. Humphrey.
Aye.
Mr. Painter.
Yes, we stand in recess until 12:50 this afternoon. Thank you. We are back. I'd like to call this meeting from recess back into order. And I understand the first business we need to do is need to call for a executive session. Do you have the? Yeah, I
I
don't
got
have
to
that
read
in front
from
of me.
my writing, sorry.
Fantastic. No, you're fine. So I'd like to request an executive session pursuant to section 121.22 G1 of the Ohio Revised Code to first consider the employment or compensation of one or more public employees. Do I have a motion to move into executive session?
I'll make that motion.
Second.
It's been moved and second. Roll call, Judy.
Mrs. Corcoran.
Yes.
Mr. Humphrey.
Aye.
Mr. Painter.
Yes, we will move into executive session. We will return and conduct further business. Thank you. We've returned from executive session. There were no decisions made, and we will continue on with the agenda today. Tom, I'll just ask one more time, are there any further additions to the agenda before we move on? Okay. County elected official discussions. Is there anyone from our staff or elected officials that would like to have any discussion today? Hearing none, I'll move to J for member comment. Board members, been a long day. Any comments here other than it was a long...
It was a long day and we had some great candidates.
we did, no question. Claire, any comments?
No comments.
Okay, then I would ask for a motion to adjourn the meeting.
So moved.
I'll second that motion.
It's been moved and received a second. Anything further before we adjourn? Roll call, Judy.
Mr. Humphrey.
Aye.
Mrs. Corcoran.
Yes.
Mr. Painter.
Yes. That concludes our meeting for the 29th of January, 2020. Thank you for attending today, and we'll see you next week.